Savannah is a city born of salt air and restless tides, where the streets themselves seem to remember every step that has ever passed across them. Spanish moss dangles heavy from gnarled oaks, swaying as though stirred by invisible hands. Gas lamps flicker in the rising dusk, their light uneven, yellowing, fragile against the weight of centuries. It was here the couple arrived, seeking only a weekend escape, a taste of old Southern charm. Yet the city greeted them not with welcome, but with watchfulness. Every alley seemed to hide a shadow, too patient, too intent. Savannah does not rush. It waits. As the sun slipped low, painting the river in molten copper, the couple made their way toward dinner. They had chosen a place known not only for its food, but for its ghosts. The pirate's house crouched on the riverfront like a survivor from another age. Its timbers, dark and groaning, had seen 2.5 centuries of storms, sailors, and sins. Inside, the air was thick with the mingled scents of rum, salt, and old wood. They were seated in the captain's room, where legend claimed pirates once gathered to plot voyages and drink to both conquest and ruin. Beneath the floorboards ran tunnels leading to the Savannah River, through which many a drunken man had been dragged, never to be seen again. They ordered their meal, yet their attention lingered not on the food, but on the way the candlelight warped the paintings on the wall. A ship leaned forward as though straining to sail right out of its frame. A face in the mural seemed to shift when the eye wasn't fixed directly on it. Their waiter, a young man with pale hands, leaned close and whispered, "Sometimes they come back. The sailors, the captain himself. Folks see them standing in that very corner by the fireplace, just appearing, and then gone, like smoke." The couple chuckled nervously, but the laughter died as a cold draft pressed between them. A chair scraped faintly against the floor, though no one sat there. Beyond the window, the Savannah River rolled past, black water catching the lantern glow of slow-moving boats. One vessel, older than the rest, its sails ragged and furled, drifted by with no sound of engine or oar. The man swore he saw a figure upon its deck, staring toward the restaurant with eyes too pale to belong to the living. He blinked, and the boat was gone. Only the ripple of water remained. After dinner, they joined a ghost tour, as tourists do. Yet this tour gathered not in the safety of a bustling square, but in the shadows of Colonial Park Cemetery. The cemetery stretched wide, its stones leaning like weary soldiers. Dates carved deep into marble marked the passing of centuries. Entire families lost to yellow fever rested here, their markers crowded close as if even in death they sought company. The guide, a narrow man with a lantern held low, motioned them near a gazebo. Its wooden posts leaned slightly, as though burdened by the weight of the stories whispered beneath them. "Savannah," he began, "is a city of the dead. They built upon graves paved over bones. Every step you take, you walk where someone once was laid to rest." As he spoke, the couple felt the heaviness of the place press in. The air seemed thicker inside the cemetery gates. They thought it imagination, until the whistling began. A high, clear whistle cut through the night. Not a tune of joy, but something shrill and unnatural, carried too far down the narrow cobblestone street beside the graveyard. The guide froze. His lantern quivered in his hand. "That," he whispered, "is him." "Who?" someone asked. "The whistling man," the guide replied. "Long ago, a jailer used to walk prisoners down that road, whistling as he went. They say he vanished one night, and only the whistle remains. No one ever sees him. But the sound." The whistle swelled louder, as though the unseen figure had drawn close. The couple turned their heads in unison, searching the dark street. It lay empty. Not a soul, not even the wind. Yet the sound was undeniable, piercing, shrill, echoing against the stone walls of the cemetery. Too loud, too close. and then silence. The guide swallowed hard and hurried them along. But the couple would not forget the look in his eyes, nor the certainty that something had followed unseen just beyond the lantern's reach. The tour wound into Wright Square, known grimly as Hanging Square. Once the site of public executions, its soil drank deep the blood of those condemned. Here the guide spoke of Alice Riley, an Irish servant girl accused of murdering her master in 1735. She was hanged at the square, her body swinging from the gallows while crowds jeered. Some claimed she cursed the city with her last breath. The couple listened, shivering in the cool night air. Then, just at the edge of the square, they noticed her. A woman in faded colonial dress, head bent, hands clasped before her. She stood perfectly still among the oaks. The man turned to nudge his wife, and when he looked back, the figure was gone. No footstep, no trace, only the sigh of the moss in the branches overhead. The group paused outside the sorrel weed house, its grand facade bathed in moonlight. The guide told of Francis Sorrel, his mistress, and the tragedies that stained the walls within, murders, suicides, and screams heard even now. The couple felt the house staring back at them, its windows too much like eyes. Behind one pane, they swore a shadow shifted, a figure watching. Yet when the wife looked closer, the window stood dark and empty. Onward, they walked to the Marshall House Hotel, once a Civil War hospital. Its floors had hidden amputated limbs beneath the boards. Guests reported soldiers limping through the halls, their faces pale with eternal pain. From the street, the couple caught the faintest tang in the air, iron, sour, and sharp, the unmistakable scent of blood. They turned quickly away, unsettled. The tour ended, and the group scattered into the night. The couple slipped into a tavern tucked off a side street, hoping a drink would soothe their nerves. The bar was dim, its air heavy with tobacco and stale whiskey. They took a seat at the counter where mirrors stretched along the wall. As they raised their glasses, the wife noticed something peculiar. The mirror showed more figures than filled the bar. A woman in a bonnet lingered behind them. A man with a cravat leaned on the counter. She turned, but only empty air greeted her. The husband saw it too. Neither spoke. They drank quickly, paid their check, and hurried into the night. Their inn was a colonial townhouse converted into a bed and breakfast. Its stairwell groaned with each step, and the wallpaper seemed faded in the shape of hands pressed too long against it. Inside their room, the couple tried to sleep, yet the silence was unnatural. No hum of distant cars, no wind, no crickets, only their own shallow breathing. Somewhere in the wall, a faint scratching began, then stopped. Hours seemed to pass. The man, restless, opened his eyes to the sight of something, someone, climbing the wall. It was small, hunched, and gray. Its limbs were long, thin as branches. The shape did not move like a man, nor like an animal. It clung to the plaster as if weightless, then turned its head, though no face could be seen. And then, with impossible grace, it slid through the wall and vanished. Not as one fades from view, but as though stepping across a threshold into another place entirely. A place just beyond human sight. The couple stared at the wall long after it had gone, the silence crushing, their hearts thundering. Was it a demon, an imp, or only a soul twisted by centuries of unrest? They could not name it, nor did they want to. For in the South, some truths are better left unnamed. Neither slept. The night stretched on, filled with whispers in the plaster and shadows shifting at the edges of vision. At last, dawn came, pale and thin, spilling across the riverfront. The city looked unchanged, beautiful, stately, alive with morning bustle. The spell of night seemed to have broken. Yet, as the couple walked the quiet street, they knew better. Something had watched them, Something had touched their world and slipped back into its own. Savannah keeps its dead close, and sometimes the dead reach back. The couple would leave the city by evening, but never truly escape it. For once Savannah has shown you its shadows, they follow. Not always seen, not always heard, but never far. Savannah remembers its dead, and sometimes the dead remember you.